eventually a pit maneuver is obviously out of the question given the size of the big rig, and we've learned from former Officer Tim Lynn that the only way to bring this to an end is establishing spike strips out there on the highway to damage those tires to bring this to an end. So in terms of strategizing, Tim, I mean, this is such an event for CHP to try to figure out how do we do this.
But there's the way you deploy spike strips, there's ways you can pull it in front of the vehicle, and the advantage they'll have there is this big rig is not as maneuverable as a car. We've seen in the past where they pulled the spike strips out in front of cars. The cars had braked, made lane changes, and drove around the spike strips. Now, this person won't be able to do that as nimbly of this big rig as he would in a car. So that'll be at the CHP's advantage. They have to be, these big rig drivers have to be very careful when they're driving this. They're not as maneuverable as you would think because there's so much weight and so much mass. So as he's working along here, looks like he's getting over to the right side here, slowing a little bit as he moves along. So, no, he's probably just trying to figure out where he wants to go at this point, trying to make a decision. Is he going to get off the freeway or continue on? Or he may see something ahead. We're pretty tight on the car truck itself, so we don't know what's out ahead of it at this point, but we do know there's a load of CHP officers behind it using the lights to block the traffic behind so nobody passes.
So making its way through the highways and freeways of Southern California now. We've seen a little bit of the sort of mocking of the big rig by making the most of having that wheel and going back and forth and seeing that cab rocking. And here's another big rig passing as our shot seems to get a little grainy here right now. I think that's just because the night sun isn't directly above it. That's night sun from the CHP chopper. So it is harder to get a really good look, but you can see the lights nonetheless. So speeds in the upper 70s here, Tim. This is very scary as we're seeing more vehicles on the road.
They're going to have to use multiple spike strips. It's not going to be a one and done like it would be with a car. But on a big rig, it's going to take multiple spikes to be able to get through those heavy-duty tires. And also the spikes are designed for, large trucks and vehicles, not big rigs and things of this sort. Right? But, just, a matter of getting him into a position to where they can pull that off. But watching the mannerisms of the driver here as we're going along, is just kind of cruising along, and if somebody's close by, it kind of goes over and misses that driver and kind of goes over and, pushes that big rig off to the side, makes them move out of their lane. This thing can go all the way to the border, and they're always going to have 3 CHP units on it. So he's not going to get away from police cars behind him. He's not going to get away from the air units that are overhead because, as I said, they're going to be working handoffs with the helicopters as well to keep eyes on for the officers on the ground. And right now it's going so slow, the officers are just driving normal freeway speeds, but he's gone from the center divider now all the way over to the right side. And so it's just trying to figure out what he's going to do here, but he should be coming up on that 605 here any moment, because as we work our way through here, there's only one way to go on the 605 when you get there, and that's south.
You saw how close the black and whites are behind, just sort of waiting this out along with the rest of us. Spike strips, let's give kudos to CHP. We believe it was CHP. That's what we understand it to be, that threw out those spike strips on the 210 westbound. So hats off to CHP officers who successfully did that and compromised, completely wiped out those two front tires. Now we're riding on nothing but rims. I'm reminded I have covered a big rig pursuit on the 5 that lasted a very long time in our 4th week, and this is now into a 60-minute Goodnight LA because we've been following this stolen big rig pursuit out of Bakersfield. It was picked up in Santa Clarita. We're now in Ontario, where we have former police officer Tim Lynn on the line as we watch this hopefully come to an end. At any given moment, you're getting flashes, Tim, of the suspect behind the wheel, and I can't imagine what it's like to drive a big rig like this, but then to drive one without front tire. Yeah, and now, thankfully, it doesn't look like that hillside has caught fire, so let's hope that that doesn't happen. More CHP units descending on this neighborhood. What a rude awakening for these folks now that it's well past midnight on this now Thursday
morning. We are getting word from CHP that that suspect is officially in custody, as now CHP has this scene to deal with. They need firefighters there as soon as possible to be able to get out those flames. You don't want this whole thing. We don't know what's in the container, the shipping container too, that this big rig was carrying. So as we look at this, I want to recap what we've just watched unfold here on Good Night. Of course, we feel for the big rig driver who essentially got carjacked at that gas station. If I didn't say that, I don't think I made that clear in my recap. There was a big rig driver who was pumping gas in Bakersfield when that suspect carjacked this big rig. So we feel for that big rig driver who did get carjacked, and of course, you know, this is probably his livelihood. So we feel for him. We're glad though that no one was hurt. We're glad that this has come to an end. I suspect it's just a matter of time until until firefighting crew gets there to put out those flames, but CHP units are on it.